Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by friend, returning guest, fellow podcaster, and Louisiana native, Anna Dupre, to go down to the bayou with me and help talk about Louisiana horror.
I mean, I do love to talk about everything weird that happens here. This is like what, my third time now? How are you not sick of me yet? Is the better question. How does this keep happening?
Because you agree to keep coming on, is what it is.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. I will never say no, honestly.
Well,
So
this was an idea I have, and I was like, well, obviously I have to ask her. I can't think of anyone else I'm going to have on for this episode.
I do think my feelings would have been a little hurt if you
Can you
did find somebody
imagine?
else.
We are talking about your home state
Yes.
today. Were you born and raised? I mean,
Yeah. Now, no, affectionately called the Boot. I am from Louisiana. I'm actually from an hour south of New Orleans, which people don't believe me when I tell them that. There is land there. It's quickly diminishing, but it is there. Um, I grew up and went to school there, and I actually left for a year. I went to Mississippi State for my undergrad year of college because I wanted to get out and do something else, and then I hated it. So I came back home and I went to LSU. And yeah, I kind of just ended up staying because I was like, the beginning of COVID was the end of my college career. So I just ended up sticking around Baton Rouge because there's a lot of kids who, like, whenever you go to LSU, you just don't leave, and I am one of them. So yeah, I do, I am known to get into some Cajun activities from time to time. I feel as though you have received a video or two of me, like, saving a seagull that was choking on a fish, or like some other random ass shit.
just normal Cajun activities.
It was the summer and the poor thing was choking. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? But no, truly, anything can happen down here. You will see anything, you will run into anything. Nothing should ever be shocking. Truly, I honestly don't know why there's not more Louisiana horror. Like, and I mean, like, to be fair, like, if you spread it out over like Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, that like makes sense, and like even Florida too. Um,
Hmm.
this place is weird as shit, man. I mean, I just told you all about the baby and the I mean, it's Mardi Gras season, and we have king cakes, and I just shared the lore behind the baby and the king cake, and people think I'm crazy whenever I talk about this. And I'm like, you don't have small plastic figurines in your pastries?
Well, the thing is, in our group chat, we were like, wait, what? And then you sent us king cakes to prove your point.
Well,
And
everybody
they were
needs it.
delicious. So,
Everybody needs to enjoy a piece of king cake. Just watch out for the baby. A lot of the ones here, honestly, they don't put the baby in for you. Like, they let you do it, which is
mm,
nice because you can keep track of the choking hazard. But I don't think they did that for y'all.
no, but it was really fun. I just had to tell my kids, I'm like, don't like wolf this down. Like, eat slow. There's a baby in there. They were like, wait, what? I just don't want you to choke on the baby while you're eating some cake.
I'm sorry. Having to tell your children is to watch out for the baby is very, very funny to me. Um, yeah, it's really funny because, like, I think it's supposed to be baby Jesus if I'm knowing the lore correctly. Because, like, Mardi Gras is completely framed around Lent and
Yeah.
the Easter calendar and all that.
Yeah.
So I know the local place that we get ours from, there's a thing on the box that kills me every time, and it's like a little bit of Jesus in everybody. I just I can't look at it and not giggle like a 12-year-old. So
That's so funny. Yeah, well, growing up in California, it's not very Catholic. So moving to Pittsburgh, like after college, was a little bit of a culture shock for me,
yeah.
just because like I wasn't around any of this. So truly, like Ash Wednesday, seeing people with like stuff on
Oh
their
yeah.
foreheads, I was like, what is happening to everyone? What is going on, truly? And now I work in grocery, so it's like, oh, Lent, we gotta like push fish, we
Yeah,
gotta like
yeah,
there's fish
yeah.
fries everywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I always think about McDonald's doing the
The
filet-o-fish,
fillet of fish, yep.
and can't help but think about it. But, no, and it's like it's weird because, there is, I feel like, a line where you get more into, like, Southern Baptist territory and, like, Bible Belt, actually, but,
Mhm.
like, we are very Catholic down in this, like, where I'm from, like, everybody is Catholic. The rules that they choose to follow from Catholicism are always really fun to figure out, like, what everybody subscribes to. Um, the everybody's like I've talked to a few people, they're like, "Y'all are big drinkers down there," and we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "It's because y'all are Catholic, right?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, when I went to college, that's what they would say, and I'm like, "What does being Catholic having to do with drinking?" I'm like, "Is it the wine at church? I
Can
don't
I tell you
know."
from someone who went to, like, Baptist college,
Please tell me now.
that did not have, like, a was not told a favorable view of Catholics?
Well, I'm no longer Catholic, to clarify. I have a lot of distance between the church and I, so please continue.
We were told that it's just because you go to confession, so, like, nothing you do actually matters, so you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
just,
no, that's
like
a good
yeah,
point.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you guys just do whatever you want, and then you just, like, go to confession or whatever and just never change. This is
Yeah.
not me speaking, listeners, okay? This is
But that does make sense because, the Catholics just believe that you need to go talk to a man who will absolve all of your sins and everything will be fine. So, you know.
Yeah, this episode should be dropping Fat Tuesday, so
Hell yeah.
happy Mardi Gras, everyone. Um, I did wanna ask, what is something you think people get wrong about Louisiana?
I hate to say, but a lot of the stereotypes are right. I will say this. Some of the most intelligent people I have ever met in my life, like, come from down the bayou. Like, they just, like it's not like textbook intelligence. It's like they just figure shit out and, like, fix shit with, like, a piece of string and, like, a coat hanger. Like, it's some of the most strange ingenuity I've ever seen in my life, and, like, the other thing too is, like, people talk about, like, Southern hospitality and stuff, but, like, it's not quite like the Alabama, Mississippi Southern hospitality that we have. We just like to talk. Like, I feel like we can talk to anybody. Like, we don't really know a stranger. I feel I do get, like, the accents are always really hard to nail. Like, so fair. Hard to nail a New Orleans accent. But, like, acting like we're idiots who ride our alligators everywhere isn't necessarily fair, although alligators are everywhere. We have been known to pull out it's called a pirogue instead of, like, a canoe to, like, get around if it's
Mhm.
flooded. But we are intelligent, I swear. We do have some smarts rattling around up there, so
Hey, I believe you. On my husband's side, like, his uncle that's a chemical engineer and his wife who's also a chemical engineer are both in Baton Rouge, so that is, like, the book smart family is like
Dude, LSU has, like, this huge engineering program, like, they don't play. It's like a
like,
5-year program.
yeah.
It's, yeah, the nerds go there, I guess, and just end up making loads of money, but could not be me. I just went psych and, and ended up here.
And we love you for it.
Yeah, this is why I'm really good at podcasts because I can talk to anybody, right? Right.
Why do you think Louisiana makes such a perfect backdrop for horror?
Oh god.
I know, it's a there's a lot.
Well, one, if you drive around here, there's the swamp is like very close. So like in Baton Rouge, it's not so much. There's like plenty of woods and stuff, but like where I'm from, a town called Homa, like it does not take long to get to the Gulf of Mexico. Like it's not very far away. So like the marsh and the swamp is like very, very close. And that land, like if you've ever spent any amount of time in there, like hunting, fishing, just like visiting, traversing, like doing a swamp tour or whatever, it's, like, not an easily travelable land, and, like, depending on the day, like, the water can be too low and you can't get to, like, certain parts of it, and so there's, like, parts of this land that I just feel like whenever you think about, like, God, if I was a serial killer and I was gonna dump a body, you're like, "Man, this place is perfect." There's, like, so many places.
And that's just
Um
the normal things people think about when they see that.
Yeah, totally. The other thing too is like the folklore that we have. Like everybody has like shit that their grandparents tell them. Like my grandparents weren't very like supernatural or like superstitious, but you like talk to like the guy at the gas station, and they'll talk about, like, the rougarou or, like, the lutin, which is, like, the ghost that lives, like, out in the pasture and braids your horse's mane or whatever, like, there's all kinds of
What?
I know, there's all kinds of, like, crazy shit
There's a horse girl
that
ghost?
yeah, yeah, allegedly called the lutin, I believe, but it depending on who you talk to, like, the story will change a little bit, like, everybody's rougarou story is a little bit different. But, like, the gist of it is essentially it's a swamp werewolf. There's just, like, all kinds of, like, crazy ass shit that goes on here, and, like, the people are just, like Cajuns are, like, really good storytellers. They are really, really good storytellers, and so I think that that lends itself to embellishment. It's a lot of fishermen down here too, so, like, they'll, like, drag it out, which is really fun, but yeah, there's just it's a big playground. There's, like, a bunch of, like, weird landscape, there's a bunch of, like, strange people, uh, yeah, and, like, the alligators certainly don't help. They're just hanging around ready to eat whatever gets thrown at them. And,
Yeah.
we have all kinds of strange we have, like, neutral rats, people don't know what that is.
I'm sorry, you
Um,
can't just drop that in here casually. What is that?
okay, so a neutral rat is it's like a beaver, but it doesn't have a flat tail, and, like, it used to be that you could hunt them and sell the furs for, like, cash back in, like, a long time ago. I think that they're technically an invasive species that was brought over from France, but don't quote me on that, but they eat land. So, like, if you we had, like, a pond behind our house and, like, we had one in the pond, and it would eat the land around it, like, making the pond bigger. So, like, they're not great to have around because they will destroy your property. But, like, for instance, we were walking to an LSU game this last season, and there was 2 hiding in the culvert, and there were children feeding it hot dog buns. So, wildlife's just right outside your front door as well.
Oh my gosh.
They're really ugly. They have these huge, like, orange, like, yellowish teeth that look like carrots that hang out of their mouth. Um,
Okay, I think you have a duty to post these on your story the day this episode comes out so the people can
I think what
see.
would be better is if I post it after we're done recording with no context just to see what would happen.
Yeah, it's a state with a ton of lore and like you were saying, the geography of it lends itself to so much of this. I mean, especially like in New Orleans with like the
Yeah,
cemeteries being above ground.
I
You
was
have
about to say
like
that.
Marie Laveau. You have
Yeah, I
like
can't remember what the name for it was, but they were like the axe murderer that was sometime around. Oh shit, I can't even remember now. But it was an American Horror Story. But that was a real thing. That was a real
yeah,
actual thing that happened that they pulled on that thread. But like if you go from like Homa to where I'm at, which is like very Cajun, whatever, and then you go to New Orleans, like even that is a big like cultural shift because like with the I mean we in Homa we still have like the cemeteries above ground and all that stuff because you can't dig here at all. Like we don't have basements. The water like we are living below sea level. We are living like in a bowl. So they have to go above ground, but just like with like second lining for funerals and stuff, like that doesn't necessarily translate to where I'm from, but like if you have a funeral in New Orleans, people treat it as a celebration of life. So you'll second line to, close out the funeral, to carry the casket to the gravesite, stuff like that. But second lining is equally part of weddings here and Mardi Gras and everything else. So I
yeah,
mean, it's just a weird cultural mix of a bunch of different it's a big traditional say like there are certain traditions that happen every year and particularly Mardi Gras, I feel like is the big signifier of that,
yeah.
honestly.
Do you guys go all out for Mardi Gras?
Well, we did at one point. I did like a thing when I was in high school that like I participated in it, and then my dad has always rode in one parade in my hometown, and then he used to ride in a parade in New Orleans, but he's like Mr. Mardi Gras. So he cut back recently because he's getting a little bit older, and doing twice in like 4 days is a ride is like a little bit much. But we do go to New Orleans and we do celebrate there because it's really fun to see like they really do up the floats and the kind of spectacle of it and it's definitely more of like a party vibe in New Orleans and like Homa has more of like the family vibe like you bring your family you back your like truck up to the parade route and you sit in the truck bed and you catch your bees and you keep them back in the truck and stuff like that which is a very different vibe than New Orleans but yeah very very fun stuff. I mean, it's always a good time. I mean, it's not a bad time unless you really
Yeah,
hate crowds, then you will have a bad time because there's people everywhere.
yeah. I didn't go for Mardi Gras, but we went to New Orleans a few years ago and we loved it. I
Yeah.
went to the vampire brunch place, of course. I had to
Hell
have
yeah,
my
you did.
vampire brunch. I went to the American Horror Story Coven House, took
Yes,
pictures in front of
yes.
that, things you
Yeah,
gotta do.
Anne Rice's house is somewhere over there too, I think.
Hmm.
But it's funny that you bring up stuff like that because, like, as somebody who's lived adjacently to there, like, I have not done that. Like, I have not gone to, like, play tourist fully like that in New Orleans. So that's why I'm always, like, begging people. I'm like, "If you wanna come, I'll go play with you." Like, we'll go
Oh,
and
no, yeah, I know, yeah. No,
we'll
I know
both
how
be
that goes,
overjoyed.
like, when, we would have friends fly to California, like, we would go to LA and be like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Hollywood sign, we're gonna do all the, like, touristy stuff that, like, we have no reason to do." But if we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
someone
yeah.
from, like, out of state, it's like, "Oh, we have reason to do it now."
Yeah, no. And, like, there would be no reason for, like, TJ and I to go to go into a ghost store, I think, in New Orleans,
Oh, man.
unless we were making, like, a whole, like, weekend out of it. But it's always fun, like, when people come in, I'm like, "Yeah, I will find any excuse, whatever you wanna do. I don't give a shit. Let's go try it and see." Oh, and the
Yeah,
other thing that we have too is Jazz Fest. We just started doing Jazz Fest. That's really, really fun. It's
it
a good
sounds fun.
time.
It's also interesting to see that, like, looking at these, like, books and movies and stories and stuff we're gonna talk about, that Louisiana horror isn't just one genre. Like, it
Yeah.
definitely lends itself to, like, Southern Gothic and, like, vampires and kind of this, like, sweaty, humid, like, sultry sexiness, but there's also, like, cosmic horror, there's also, like,
Yeah.
creature horror, there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, that and, like, even outside of horror, like, John Grisham wrote The Pelican Briefs at New Orleans, which was, like, ended up being a movie, and,
Yeah.
like, that was, like, a whole big thing, and, like, there's a lot of, like, legal thriller things set here, I feel like. When I, like, went and looked through, like, television shows and stuff, I was like, "Huh, there's a lot more of that going on than I think originally thought." But, I mean, I guess it's a big playground for deviancy and crime? I don't know.
Right, well, should we talk about some movies and shows?
Yes, 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 we shall.
I immediately thought of Eve's Bayou. I watched it a few years ago, and it's like a really beautiful, touching movie, but it's also kind of like a dark coming of age story, and it does deal with like voodoo aspects.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a sin, but I haven't seen it, so I need to fix that.
You gotta watch it. It was on Shutter for a while.
Yeah.
And it's a Criterion movie.
Well, if it's a Criterion movie, well then. Sorry. I had to. But speaking if we were going to talk about like classic uh cult classic movies, we're going to have to talk about Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, which is set in Louisiana.
I'm waiting
Yeah,
for them to
it's
put it in the closet for
I
sure.
was about to say, like, it belongs there. It belongs there. It is so like, it's such a good movie, like, even now as an adult, I wanna watch that movie sometimes. It's so, like they get a lot right. There's, like, a scene where, like, Shaggy and Scooby are in the Mystery Machine eating crawfish and, like, stuffing their face. It's so funny, but, like, they get a lot right, and I'm pretty sure there's, like, a banger, like, theme song to that one too, if I'm not mistaken. It involves like, kinda scary looking cat people, and zombies. There's plenty for everybody to have there. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think everybody should be on the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, train.
I need to watch it. I know, as a Scooby-Doo fan, I haven't seen this, and I know this is, like, people's one of people's, like, top Scooby-Doo movies.
This was like I had a bad day in college one day, and I was like, "I need to go home and watch the Scooby-Doo zombie movie," and I did, and it helped. You know what I mean?
It's like a balm.
It is.
Yeah,
It
it's just
soothes the
not
soul.
streaming anywhere. I feel like I also had to talk about Skeleton Key.
Go ahead. Let it rip.
Oh, man. Have you seen this?
No.
How have you not how do they let you still live in Louisiana if you haven't
Let
seen
me ask
this?
this, when did it come out? Hold on.
The 2000s. It's Kate
Yeah, well,
Hudson vehicle.
that would be why, because I was, like, probably 7. Yeah, it came out in 2005, I was 6.
I forget our age difference sometimes. Okay.
It really shines through in these moments, I know.
When I'm like, I was in high school, so
Yeah, sorry. Missed the train on that one. Was watching Blue's Clues.
but this is about like Kate Hudson, who was working as a like in-home nurse aide to this old man and his kind of like domineering wife in this like really nice house in New Orleans. And the vibes just get really weird. Like the old man is like trying to communicate with her and like, you know, grabbing onto her hand, saying like really ominous things. She's in this old creaky house. She finds, you guessed it, a skeleton key and, you know, uncovers stuff. I can't say it's got a good twist.
Mm.
You gotta watch it.
Maybe I'll watch it on Sunday when I get back
Okay.
from New Orleans. This sounds like
Um,
a good hangover movie to watch,
yeah,
honestly.
it's fun. I do not believe I cannot speak to the accuracy of like the voodoo practices in this movie. So I will
I'll
not.
report back. We'll see how it does.
Okay.
Not
Uh,
that I really know anything.
I
I
was
say
like,
that as if I know something. Right.
just vibes based.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I was also thinking of Angel Heart, which is funny because I did a New York horror episode with Nat Cassidy, and this was his book pick because the book is set in New York. And I'm like, the movie is very Louisiana. Like, they are like in the swamps, like, there is voodoo,
I'm
there's
always
like,
like, right now I'm listening to Neil's episode on Talking Scared with Justin C. Key, I think is his name, and he
mhm.
has that like futuristic medical thriller basically.
Yeah.
And it's like starts in New York and then it goes to New Orleans. And I'm like, what is the connection between New York and New Orleans? Like sometimes I think I get it and sometimes I think I don't. But I'm not surprised, so it's interesting.
I don't know. They're very like iconic cities with like distinct vibes. They both have new at the beginning. I don't know.
They both start with N. Yeah, they're both very stylish. Like they both
Yeah.
kind of have their own like iconography, I guess. So that makes
But
sense.
yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was funny, like such a weird switch because like Nat was like, "This is a very New York novel," and I'm like, "And it's a very New Orleans movie."
Oh, that's good shit. What else? Oh, so the first season of True Detective. I know that you still haven't seen it yet, but that
Sorry.
is also very Louisiana. And you know, as insane as Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are in that show, there is a grittiness and like a I don't know, like it's hard to name it, but I think grittiness is probably the closest I'm gonna get to like setting something so dark here.
Mhm.
Like, it is very sweaty. Everybody's sweating all the time. It's very intense, and, like, the image of Matthew McConaughey just sitting at a 80s style board table with, beer surrounding him smoking cigs is very much the vibe of a sheriff's office around here. So, I mean, it feels very, very on par with Louisiana in general. I won't speak to what unfolds because I don't want to spoil things, but it does have kind of like that folk horror feel to it. I feel
Mhm.
like, and then like they played around with that in season 4 of True Detective, which is kind of like harkening back to the two. But yeah, it's interesting what all they could kind of do with that, or like even insinuate. Like they don't even outright say, but they just kind of nud and nod you in that direction. It's interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting.
I'm trying to think what. Oh, we're gonna talk about this later, but the Interview with the Vampire TV series is fucking phenomenal. I mean, I've only seen like a few episodes because one, I have no chill, and I knew if I started, I would not stop. But I did start, and I didn't stop watching for like a day or two. So I got like 2 or 3 episodes in, and it's really, really good. Their depiction of New Orleans, like older New Orleans, is super cool to see. Um, but yeah, highly recommend that show.
I know. It's another one I gotta watch. Well, I'm sorry, have you seen Dracula 2000?
No.
No, I meant that as like you brought up this like really prestigious TV show, and I'm bringing up this like very forgettable.
I'm pulling it up on my.
Although I say
Oh,
forgettable, but Gerard Butler is
look at
Dracula, and
this.
he like floats. Okay. And Shane
Hell
West is
yeah.
there. It's very like late 90s, early aughts.
This looks like Matrix meets Dracula is what it looks like.
I feel like that's kind of probably the vibe they were going for. Um,
Yeah.
there's also the third Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. I don't remember if it takes place necessarily during Mardi Gras, but it is during like some type of Louisiana festival.
We have a lot of them, to be
That's why
fair.
I was like,
We
I don't necessarily
yeah.
want to say it is Mardi Gras proper, but there is, some Zydeco. There's some festivities going on, and you do get more into the Candyman backstory with that one, but that one is also very
Yeah, look,
Louisiana.
we have a festival for like fried chicken. We have a festival for waffles. Like I you name it, we have a festival for it. So it wouldn't be surprised if it was something else, honestly. Uh
Yeah,
Especially like in the spring. I feel like it kicks off in earnest, so that makes sense.
like festival season.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is it's so hot and muggy, and then you get sunburned. Like this Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival is always the one that everybody goes to and comes back very, very sunburnt from.
Then, speaking of more like forgettable 2000s movies, this is my
This is my homework, is what it
this is my
is.
wheelhouse is
I feel like a
Stay
fraud.
Alive, which was like a horror movie, but it was like a video game that came to life, and it's like that very odds like cyber horror,
Oh
but it's
yeah.
also like Louisiana, but it's like these teens get together and start playing this game, but if you die in the game, you die in real life. And it's this like Elizabeth Bathory-esque figure, because Elizabeth Bathory wasn't in Louisiana, you know. She wasn't she wasn't in the continental United States. So it's a silly fun time. Sophia Bush plays a goth character named October. Okay.
Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know what? You saying this has made me think of it. I think the House of Wax remake from 2005 was set in Louisiana, or at least was filmed there. Okay, it says that this was filmed in Australia, but I there was something in it that made when I watched it last, I was like, "Oh, that's Louisiana," and then and I remember them thinking like, "Oh, the football game must be LSU."
A
Is
terrifying, okay, well, online it says a terrifying fictional roadside wax museum located in the abandoned town of Ambrose, Louisiana. So it is, yeah, you're right.
Hell yeah, that's a big one for us. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's such I
Sophia
love
Bush
that
and
movie.
Chad Michael Murray. Cursed.
Yeah. Cursed. I'm like, this is the best thing ever, and you're like, God, this is awful.
I just mean because they're divorced, but they both were in aughts horror movies set in Louisiana.
But they were both so iconic
They were
of the aughts. So I mean, power couple in my opinion.
for the few months they were together, sure.
Before my time. Anyway, moving on. American Horror Stories Coven
Hmm.
was a huge deal one when it came out, and I didn't watch it when it came out, but I watched it when older,
Do you
and like
remember it being like a
I got the
huge,
hype. Yeah, everyone
like
was
people were
freaking out
talking
about
about
it.
it?
Yeah, and like I mean, obviously it was a big deal because Stevie Nicks went on, and that was like a big to do. But it was it was in the Tumblr era when I was still on Tumblr, and that place was thriving whenever that show came out, if I'm remembering correctly. Um,
Yeah.
and hopefully my teenage trauma isn't failing me now. But I remember it like the mood boards of like whenever Stevie walks in, the door flies open or whatever. Was a whole thing. But that and I haven't seen a lot of the later seasons, but from what I have seen, it is one of the better American Horror Story seasons. We have thoughts on Ryan Murphy, but
Yeah. No, I think here's the thing. I loved season 1. I liked season 2, and then season 3 was really good because I think he got to delve into his like campiness, which I think he's good at,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Glee is campy as hell. And then I think he like perfected that mix in Scream Queens, which
Yeah,
came out
though.
after
Yeah.
Coven. But Coven was like, I feel like kind of his first time like mixing those two together because you had like the bitchy Emma Roberts
Hmm.
character and like, yeah, all these like teen witches living together. And it was still dark. Like, I don't know, it still like grossed me out. Kathy
Yeah.
Bates is like
I was about to say that's who sticks
awful.
out in my
Yeah.
mind as being, like, so repulsive that whole entire
Oh god,
season.
her character introduction was scarring.
Yeah, Madame Lalaurie, I
Ah,
think, or whatever it is. I think that
yeah,
that was a real figure as well that they pulled
I
on,
believe
but
so. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then they did like that jazz axe murderer that you
Yeah.
mentioned.
The jazz axe murder was a thing, and then there was, I feel like there was something else that I don't quite remember that had come up in that season. I know that they came back for, Apocalypse, and that was a whole thing. Um, but that felt like a fever dream, so I don't remember
I
that as well.
feel like we also got to mention True Blood. Also,
Yeah. Can you do your best, "Suke"?
suck it.
Yeah. Wait, also, what happened to you doing your southern accent for this
I
episode?
okay, I was like watching TikTok videos of like how to do a Louisiana accent, and it was giving me like really hardcore Cajun accents, and I'm like, I can't do that. I
Like
did have a crush on Gambit, the X-Men,
okay,
but
yeah,
like I
yeah,
should
yeah,
have
yeah.
a better handle on it, but I don't.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, the old Cajun people who talk really flat are hard to emulate. It's very, like, in your mouth. That sounds gross, but it
No,
is.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Uh, but anyway, you didn't watch the whole thing. You only watched season 1, season 2? That was
Yeah,
around where I
probably
left
around there.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just wasn't doing it for me the same way that, like, I don't know, Twilight did? I don't That's a sin to say that, I shouldn't say that. Yeah. I mean, it was cool. It
It
was it
was cool.
was, you know, it had some
And I
style to it.
and it did have a good, like, sense of place, and I felt like it was the right setting for kind of, like, that, like,
Oh,
sexy,
yeah.
supernatural, like
Everybody is very sweaty in that show, and that is accurate, to be fair. So,
we love
very
it.
humid down here.
Alright, well, should we get to talking about some books then?
I guess it's that time.
We can do it. Okay, well, for this episode, I'm really glad that I finally read The Gilda Stories by Jewel Gomez. This came out in 1991. I feel like I see this on lists all the time for like very underrated queer black feminist like speculative fiction. But this is following a main character who escapes from slavery in Louisiana after a man sexually assaults her and she kills him. But she escapes and she ends up running and hiding in the basement of what ends up being a brothel named Woodard's, and kind of like the madam of the brothel. She takes her in and just kind of like takes care of her at this brothel and that keeps her safe. I really did like the character work and setting at the beginning where you get to know all of the sex workers that work at the brothel and kind of like the vibes there as it's setting the scene. So the owner, Gilda, you find out that she has certain powers and limitations because she is a vampire. And she basically tells her main character that she's just kind of decided that it's time and that she is going to turn her and make her the new Gilda. So she takes the name Gilda, and then you are following new Gilda, our main character, for like 200 years at like
Hot damn.
different points in time in history. And it's really interesting because it does read like a series of short stories, and like she goes out west with friends of Gilda One that like give her more information about this like vampirism. Like they're also vampires, so they like help her out and like tell her more about like how this works. She learns more about like what it means to be a black person in America. Like, what does that look like outside of the South? And obviously, how that changes throughout history over the next 200 years and like into the future. Like, it goes like, but I had a lot of fun reading this. It was like very interesting. It's like a very, like, a good historical, like, short story collection about this vampire through time.
I wanna read that now. That's not on my radar.
I also really liked the way that the vampirism worked in this. Like
Mhm.
it's a little fresh, it's different.
Interesting.
I liked
I
it.
always I always like a fresh take on vampirism. Like, I just go nuts when I'm like, "Oh, they didn't do the normal thing. They did something else." It's
Yeah.
very fun. Which is a great segue into the first book that I wanna talk about, which is gonna be less of me recapping, more of a discussion in general. But I just read Interview with the Vampire for the first time.
On your honeymoon.
Yeah, that was a choice. I don't think that I realized how fucking angsty it was.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I knew it was gonna be, like, I knew it was gonna be, like, sexually like, repressed sexual angsty perhaps of the for vampires, but, like, I didn't realize how, like, Louis was just gonna be like, "Should I kill myself a lot?" You know? And, like, "What is the point of this life?" And, like, the morality of his existence and, like, oh my god, it was a bit much for me. O Obviously a good book. I did not realize how insane Lestat was. That was a fun find out, how batshit that character is. And it's really fun to have the knowledge that he just, like, goes on to become a hair metal artist in the next book, allegedly. Um, but yeah, Louis Lestat, they were really interesting to read about. They were really upsetting when it came to Claudia, I think. In my head, I was like, really, ugh, I don't know. I had mixed feelings on that. But yeah, just Louis' internal wrestling with his mere existence was something to read while on a beach on honeymoon. So
Yeah. And that's a lot of the book. Yeah, the Claudia stuff is just it's always so interesting though, because I'm sure you know, it was like, Anne Rice kind of dealing
yeah,
with the death of her daughter who died young. And so she's kind of like this idea of like a young girl who's like frozen at one age
yeah, that
forever and
frozen in amber kind of thing.
yeah, working through her grief in that way. But yeah, like the character takes some interesting turns and you're like, okay, I don't
Well, it wasn't even like what Claudia did. I think it was more the way that Louis and Lestat kind of, like, used her as a pawn, and I don't wanna put it like that, but, like, at times it felt like she was a chess piece that was moving around to, like, gauge what would happen with the other, if that makes any
I
sense.
mean, yeah, her creation was literally that. Was like,
Right.
we're having like problems. What if we bring a
Yeah.
child into the mix?
I mean, okay, yeah, but all like, even whenever she's I say older, I mean, she's still
Yeah.
a child, but, like, whenever she's older, like, she can't grow, so, like, she has to have somebody with her to, like, get by, and
Yeah.
it's interesting how that played out, I don't know. It
Mhm.
was not what I expected, I think, is the biggest takeaway. I didn't dislike it, I don't think that I loved it the way that I was hoping that I would, is where I felt, I think, in the end.
Was it because Louis was a drag?
Um, yeah, and I think I thought that it would be a little bit more, like, outwardly tumultuous.
Mm,
With Louis and Lestat, like, I thought it would be, like, and don't get me wrong, it is, but I was like, "Come on, do something," like, you know what I mean? It's like, "Get in there, say how you feel, god damn it." But these
yeah.
are old ass vampires, so they're gonna, be angsty and not say everything. Um, but yeah, but you posed a really interesting question to me the other day, which is Don Draper more Louis or Lestat? And I think we should talk about that.
Discuss. He is a man full of so much inner turmoil and self-loathing and just existential angst at points that I think we went through this, like, he's just part Louis and part Lestat because then he's also
Yeah.
like, "Live it up, baby."
What ratio did we land on? Was it, like, 60-40 or more like 75-25? I don't know.
Listeners, weigh in.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. If you are also obsessed with Mad Men and Interview with the Vampire. Thank you.
I've said this on, like, every episode since I've started watching Mad Men. Mad Men gets an episode mention every single episode, and that's
Okay, but,
because
like
that's what it's like to talk to me in real life. I'm sorry.
no, but, like, to be fair, you did influence me to start watching it, and I am in the middle of watching it for the first time, so it is also on my mind to speak of it in this way, so I mean, fair game.
But yeah, I mean, Anne Rice is such a presence in New Orleans. So I guess like
Dude, yeah.
knowing her and what she means and kind of like her legacy, like what was that like going into this?
Well, it was weird because one, everybody kind of had warned me. They're like, "There's gonna be some weird like kid stuff with Claudia," and I was like, I don't know how to feel about that, but okay. So going in, like, I kind of had reservations. But like for instance, I'll like on Facebook, I think her sons are like kind of in charge of. I don't know if it's like her estate or like her organization or whatever, but they do like events where they, like let Anne Rice fans like kind of gather and like talk with them and stuff like that. And so I'll get pushed stuff like that on social media, which I think is really interesting to kind of have that engagement with the community. But like I will say the way that she wrote New Orleans was really, really enjoyable because she talks about like the style that the city has and like how nowhere else is really like it and like the jazziness it's hard to name the vibe of it, but she does do it and it was really nice to read that. So I mean, and she's written so much other stuff too in New
Yeah.
Orleans. I mean, the Mayfair Witches and all that, which I haven't gotten to yet, but no, I mean, and I mean I love that she was a woman that was doing that,
Yeah.
more power to her for it. So
And she's such an interesting person. I think
her relationship
when
with
CJ,
Catholicism is
yeah,
interesting.
when I did my episode on religious horror with CJ Lead, that was her chilling obsession, and we talked about that for a few minutes. So, if you would like to hear about Anne Rice's relationship with Catholicism and LGBT rights,
Yeah. No,
check that out.
it's super fascinating, and it goes back to the thing
Yeah,
that I said. It's interesting to see what Catholic people will kind of pick and choose to subscribe to at different points in their
yeah,
life.
it is interesting. So also for this episode, I read Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright.
And how you feeling?
You know what? I'm glad I read it, but oh my god, was it an experience? Also, I was listening to the audiobook at work, which is 2 for 2 for man,
Oh.
Billy Martin just like killing me because I read Drawing Blood that way and I was just like, I hope no one can hear what I'm listening to because yikes.
Hell of a place to
Uh,
listen to it. I like it.
yeah. So it's interesting because the preface of the novel, he talks about how the book is about the threats the gay community was facing in the 80s and 90s. And the serial killers in the book are stand ins for like Jeffrey Dahmer and Dennis Nelson, who specifically targeted gay men and had like cannibalistic tendencies. Um, and, obviously around this time, the AIDS crisis was running rampant. It was being ignored by the Reagan administration. But he was talking about how, I don't know if like annoyed is the right word, but like affected he was by like reviews of the book being like, oh, this ridiculous, senseless violence. And he's like, I don't think people got that it was about all of the senseless violence like the gay community faced and all the loss that was just for no reason. It was preventable.
Yeah.
Like if we had just taken action, like these lives didn't need to be lost. He ends on this. I hope that someday the HIV virus will be eradicated or at least become rare enough that the events of Exquisite Corpse will seem quaint and remote, rather like Beth March's death from scarlet fever in Little Women. Until then, I can still point at the novel and say, this is what I thought. This is how I felt. At the tail end of the plague years, this is how it looked to me. So
Yeah.
it is just
That's
like a
wonderful.
record in time
Yeah.
about that. So what is this about? You are following like a few different characters. One of them is Andrew, who is a serial killer in a British prison who like somehow puts himself in a trance where he seems dead enough to get like transported out of prison. Um, just go with it.
Yeah.
um,
Works for me.
he fakes his own death and gets to New Orleans, where then we meet Jay, who is a photographer, Nepo baby, also gay serial killer. This is the like Jeffrey Dahmer serial killer stand in. His character was interesting because he's a Nepo baby. His dad opened up a plastics plant like 40 years before in
Hey,
Terrebonne
that's where I'm
Parish.
from. That's me. That's Terrebonne. Yeah.
Terrebonne, okay.
You did good. You pronounced
In,
it correctly.
in Terrebonne Parish. And he was talking about initially the factory gave a lot of like the opening of this, like, gave a lot of factory jobs to the community, but the chemicals started killing the swamp and giving the employees cancer, so it's like it's got a weird, reputation. And Jay becomes very enamored with Tran, who is a Vietnamese runaway. Tran has a boyfriend, I believe, named Luke, who is like a radio personality on like a pirate radio station called WHIV, where he's just kind of like, and he goes by the name Lush Rimbaugh. um,
That's good.
Yeah, where he's just kind of like spewing his thoughts about like he's HIV positive. So he's kind of like, I'm terminal, like this is just my like vitriol at the situation and like my anger is keeping me going. But this novel kind of culminates in like all four of these people coming together with deadly consequences. I will say this is a very like New Orleans novel in that like Jay is getting some cafe au lait from Cafe Du Monde,
Yeah,
alright? He is
yeah.
slicing up some andouille sausage for his cannibal jambalaya, okay? Like
Wait, I was on board, and then you said Cannibal Jungle. I was like, "Oh, never mind. I should stop shaking my head now. That's not where I was going with this." But okay.
Um, so yeah, if you are not familiar with Poppy Zebright, it is extreme horror. It is
Mhm.
very violent, graphically sexual. It is like all the things. So yeah, if you're listening to this audiobook, make sure you have good headphones, you know,
Yeah, especially if you're at work.
especially if you're at work.
Uh, you bring up a good point though. The plant thing is like very much still a thing here. Like where TJ is from, there's a place called Donaldsonville, and there's a huge plant there. I don't even know what they manufacture. It's called CF, but like a bunch of TJ's family like works there. But there's no, like when you drive by, you just see the fumes coming out of that thing. Like there's no way it's not harmful to one the town and definitely the people working in it.
Yeah.
And more to the point, TJ's dad was actually in a plant explosion whenever TJ was 6 months
Oh
old.
my
So,
gosh.
yeah, but everybody's fine now. He is around. But yeah, no. The plants are a bit like I guess they're like really situated along the Mississippi whenever I think about it. There's a bunch of like sulfur plants and um again, I don't know what CF produces, but yeah, you'll see them. They look interesting when you drive by them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay's dad's plant, I think, was a plastics plant.
Yeah, could
But
be.
yeah.
Sounds about right.
Uh but yeah, it was, at times heartbreaking. And it's drawing from Dahmer. And I feel like a lot of like movies and shows now that are drawing from Dahmer have this specific instance where one of his victims that makes it out
Mhm.
and you think they're free. And
Yeah.
then, he runs to the police and that he's able to just go and be like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend. We were having a domestic spat."
Yeah. There's a double whammy dread to the social horror of, like, out of the frying pan and into the fire of, like, no matter what happens, it's not going to end well. You know?
No,
Like,
it's not.
it's so upsetting.
And just like the police being like, I don't want to get into this with
Yeah.
you, all this gay stuff. No thanks."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ugh.
And
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
going to believe
it's
this young minority kid over this like white man.
yeah, yeah. It's the no one is coming to save you narrative, which is very, very upsetting. So, matched with cannibalism. I can imagine that you had a time reading that.
Oh yeah. Like luckily I still had like an hour or two left at work and I'm like, now I can put something happy on because I'm gonna need that.
Okay, well, I think my next rec, I don't want to say it's happy, but I think it ended on a good note. This Cursed House by Del Sandine, I think came out last year.
Mhm.
No, 2 years ago, 2024. We're in
Oh,
2026. Duh. Um, this was a debut novel. I really enjoyed this one. It basically follows a woman who's like I think in her late 20s and she moves from Chicago down to New Orleans because she takes this job to be what she thinks is a teacher for this family. Her name is Gemma, and she gets there, and the family's name, I think it's the Duchon, if I'm pronouncing Duchon family. Um, and they're very like reclusive. It's very gothic in this house that she moves to in New Orleans, and it's kind of like out the way. It's not like in the city. And this family just stays there. Nobody really comes or goes, and then she realizes like, "Oh, they don't really want me to be a teacher. They want me to like keep this girl company." And then like the more time that she spends there, the more and more is revealed. And I obviously don't want to say like what the big secret is, but there's a reason why the family stays in the house the way that they do, and why they got in touch with Gemma. And there is obviously a curse involved by the title of this book. But it was a really, really good read because one, the style that Dell told it was really, really interesting. And I mean, I'm a sucker for the gothic. I've been on like a Shirley Jackson kick for the last, I don't know, however many months. I haven't shut up about the Haunting a Hill House, and there's definitely some of those like vibes, or like we have always lived in the castle vibes of this very insular family.
Mhm.
Um, but it also has that narrative about revisiting the sins of the past and like what is going on in this house that is not so family friendly, or was so family friendly, and what has been covered up and what has been in the past. And even though, you know, Gemma is a black woman who moves in with this, family who is also black. They're very light skinned, and they treat her differently because she is dark complected. And there's a really interesting narrative about their treatment of her and their kind of like superior, their like very strange superiority around this. It's like very old fashioned for the time. I think it's set in like 1960ish. But yeah, they really, you have, by the end, the history of the house and what is unfolded there is really explored. And as with most gothic things, you kind of have to confront the past to keep moving forward with the future. But there was one death in this book that still reigns supreme in my mind. Took me very off guard. I don't want to say what it is, but I just didn't. It was very. I just wasn't expecting it. Like, it was a very normal scene. I was reading it, and then this thing happened. I was like, "Holy shit!" Um. So yeah, this is This Cursed House by Del Sandine. Very impressive debut, I have to say. Like, very, very stylish, very well put together. I really like this one.
I know, I feel like I've heard you and Agatha Neil talk very positively about
Yeah.
this, so I do need to read it.
Well, if you're looking for like Southern Gothic, like I don't want to say modern because, like I said, it is, I think, set in the 50s or 60s. But for the most part, that is kind of more of the modern
Yeah.
persuasion than like an older time frame. I think that it's a very good book to read for that modern-ish Southern Gothic feeling that you're looking after. It's very like there's a lot of time spent with like the Spanish moss and the trees that are growing, and like outside the house versus inside the house. It's very, I like that narrative a lot. That was a very interesting, place to spend time in. So
Interesting. I wanted to talk about two short story collections by Nathan Ballingrud.
okay, one of these was a movie, right? That was on
Yes.
Hulu. Okay, I tried to watch this when I was in college and I couldn't make it through. It freaked me out so bad. I
I
couldn't
bet
do
you.
it. Big weenie Hut Junior over here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's Wounds. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. I wanted to talk about his short story collection that came out before um Wounds, called North American Lake Monsters, which is one of my all-time favorite short story collections. Have you read
I've
it?
heard nothing but good things about this, and I have a copy, I just haven't read it yet. But like, there's not a person that I've talked to about short fiction that doesn't bring up that collection.
It's very literary, and I don't mean that in a like he can turn a phrase really well. I mean in that we're following characters. These are very like character centric stories, and these do have like supernatural elements, but it is much more about the like real things these characters are going through. Like there's a story, the titular story, North American Lake Monsters, is about a man who has been released from prison, and he is like spending like he's back with his family, and it's about how he is having a hard time adjusting to like how to act around his family, and like things happen, and he like finds himself like blowing up and like puffing up his chest because that's how you like fix things in prison. And he's like, oh, like I
Yeah.
have to like completely figure out, like reconfigure how to be as a person. And there's like talk that people see like a weird like lizard snake thing outside, and so like they go to go look for it, and they say, but like it's like that, like where they're very like character centric story. So I think if someone's looking for like high horror, they might be like, I wanted like, you know, a cryptid collection story. Like, okay, you might be a little let down by that. But there was a story called Way Station that was really good too, but it's about a homeless man who like feels like his body's leaking water and he's like, what?
Leaking.
Leaking water, and he's like, what is happening? And he goes to a bathroom and is like looking at himself in the mirror and like, you know, pulling his shirt down, and sees that he has like a square cut out of his chest, but he can like look into it, and it is like a map of New Orleans.
What the hell?
And you
Oh, I
find
gotta
out
read
like,
that.
yeah, and you find out he was displaced because of Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So you know, it's like his trauma and his heart.
I gotta read that now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Um so like all of those are very good. They're not all set in New Orleans, like, but they're set like in Louisiana or like around the South. Then there's Wounds,
Yeah.
which was like previously published work, because I read The Visible Filth as like a standalone. Like I bought it on Kindle for like 99 cents as like a standalone short
Mhm.
story like years ago. And then it was put together in Wounds, which is 6 stories from the borders of hell. Wounds, or when I read it, The Visible Filth, um, is about this bartender in New Orleans, and Nathan Ballingrud did work as a bartender in New Orleans.
Cannot imagine the stories that you walk
I
away
know.
having from that job in New Orleans. Like,
Okay, he needs to come on, and
I
we need
think
to
yeah,
talk.
I think we need to do a part 2 Electric Boogaloo and see what he has to say.
He seems so lovely. Like I feel like he would. But it's about like a bartender in New Orleans, and he finds that like there was like a random phone that was left by someone who was there, and so he's trying to like text the phone and like figure out like whose it is so he can give it back to them, and that immediately starts this like very inexplicable spiral of horror that I don't want to get into because you just have to read it slash watch it, you know.
Was there something with a brain in in like for some reason I remember there was like something to do with like head trauma or a brain, and I turned it off, and I don't I don't know. I don't know, like, you know how they do the artwork for like the load screen on Hulu? Like I remember like they had like the warped spin behind Wounds, and I don't know if it was like his head that was like that. I just remember the artwork from it, or if it was genuinely like a
Hmm.
gore thing in it. But I remember I was watching it and I was like, I it was late at night, I was by myself, and I was like, I can't do this. This is getting to me in a way I don't like.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. So I don't remember. I just remember it's like Army Hammer and Dakota Johnson.
Well, now I want to go watch it. I want to
Um,
go try again.
I also really liked the opening story for Wounds. It's called The Atlas of Hell, and it's following like a
Ooh,
rare book dealer who is being asked, like at gunpoint by force by like a local mob boss, um, to go down to the bayou to a house and get him a book that is like a book literally from hell. And so he
incredible.
has to go take one of those, like, I don't know, pontoon boats. What were you saying they're called?
A pirog.
Yeah.
Pontoon.
Don't laugh at me. I don't know the difference.
It starts with a P. It's all the same.
Yeah. One of those swamp boats, okay?
Swamp.
And yeah, so he's like going, you know, with some of the mob guys, and they're going to this house, and the things they see
Hmm.
as you start like getting this book that is like literally like a portal to hell.
Oh God. I really I want I this is making me want to read all of his collections. I think I like went on a spree and I bought like I think either 3 or 4 of his books. I've read Crypt of the Moon Spider, which was a novella that came out with Nightfire, which I really liked.
I
But
still
I
want to
have his
read
collections.
his like trilogy of novellas.
Yeah, yeah. But no, he knows his way around a story, so I find it very interesting that he would pick up on the threads of like the darkest parts of the South and like kind of
Mhm.
run with it. That's really I give a lot of credit to that because it does feel like sometimes when you're driving to the end of the earth, you're driving down to hell. Like there's one way and it is down. You are going south. Um, so no, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I highly recommend North American Lake Monsters and Wombs, the
Hell yeah.
short
Okay.
story collections.
Hopefully I'll pick those up soon. Okay, I have a couple more recs. I have Pay the Piper, which is technically George Romero's baby, but Daniel Kraus kind of like picked it up and finished it. It is a really unique book, and I got the hugest kick out of it when I was reading it because there are like certain bayous and waterways that are mentioned in that book. And my family, so where I'm from, if you drive like 30 minutes south, there's like, you're really down the bayou. And we have like a fishing camp that our whole family uses, and we'll go fish down there. And like those bayous and waterways were like the same ones that connect to like where we go, like to Madison Bay and Lake Barre and all that. And so like that was in the book, which I thought was super like freaking cool. But this is not what the book is about, obviously. I just thought it was like, oh, who knew that the land that time forgot it made it into a book. Um and it also makes me wonder what the hell Romero was doing down there, if that was his piece that he had in there. But anyway, I digress. The book is about you kind of follow this young girl. Her name is Pontiac, and she's very sassy. I love her immensely. She's very funny. And she lives in this very small town. They all live in what is called like shanties, so like the houses are like kind of like shacks. It's like very impoverished. Like she has a hard time going to school because she's not interested. There's only like so many kids in her class. But some of the kids start to go missing, and the tale of, you know, the Piper is running amok. And you kind of jump around to the different people in this small Louisiana town. Like there's a sheriff who's like real, or I don't even know if he is a sheriff. I think that he just assumes that he's the sheriff. But he's like really obsessed with John Wayne. And he's just like a big part of the book is like spent with him like kind of getting drunk and watching John Wayne and thinking about what to do, which feels very on brand for a Cajun. But you follow like this town as it tries to deal with this like entity that is preying on the children. There's also like a pirate's curse that's lingering that plays into this folklore. And then, of course, like there's a big storm coming, a big hurricane coming. It all kind of culminates in this like big kind of, I don't, it's like this big and I feel like this was Daniel Kraus kind of reckoning with like what the oil industry is doing to the land and like how we're treating the land and like if we're cultivating the land and like if we're investing in it with our youth rather than running away. It was like a big kind of take on that conversation about how we're treating those around us and what the damage does and if we can ever really rebuild, which is a very Louisiana story, it feels like. I'm sure I glossed over some. I read this like a year and a half ago. And I was obsessed with it. But yeah, there's a couple like little weird points in this book, like a couple like little weird asides. Like there's a scene where like this monstrous figure who's like kind of dressed up as Pontiac's like teacher like visits her in the night and like, tries to lure her out, and it like gets kind of oddly sexual. It was very strange. Um, but other than that, I had a great time.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it. But again, I don't know who wrote that part and what it was, but
Yeah,
just kind of made me wonder a little bit. But very stylistically, very much a Louisiana book. So
I love it. I had honorable mentions that are books on my TBR that I was like in the middle of that I didn't finish for this episode, but I felt like should still get a mention. One
absolutely.
was a YA novel called Mina and the Undead by Amy McGraw. And I think this is like the first in a series, but this is set in the 90s and like the cover design and everything is very like VHS, like it's cute. But it's about a British girl named Mina, who is in New Orleans visiting her older sister, who works at like a touristy, like haunted house tour type of
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Like she's a tour guide. Um, but during one of the tours, one of the patrons like ends up dead with like puncture wounds in its neck, and like the sister is being blamed for this, and so she has to get to the bottom of like whatever killed this person to exonerate her sister.
I like that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I've got two more that I'm gonna like run through really quickly, and they're
Okay.
both Rougarou related, so this is fun for me. Um, one of them, it's actually it's not horror, I don't think it's thriller, but the Patricia Cornwell series that she wrote, which is the Case Scarpetta series, which is coming to Amazon very soon, by the way.
Okay.
Um, basically, this is like this 20 something book long series. It is so ridiculously long. But you follow a medical examiner, or I think she's actually like a pathologist. I don't remember her title because it changes a few times. But anyway, Kay Scarpetta is on the case, okay? And she is no nonsense and she investigates crime and she's a scientist, and that's the premise of the whole series. But there is a specific book in the series called Blowfly that is set in Baton Rouge. And there's like a whole through line of this serial killer who basically is like they're kind of like, is he the Rougarou or not? We don't know. He could be. We don't know. And she's like using her science to debunk it. They call it the Loup Garou, which is the French version of it, I think, in the book. But anyway, they like actually go to France and in
Oh.
book 16 or whatever. I don't know. I read all of them years ago, and but it's stuck in my head because Blowfly is definitely set in Louisiana. There is a serial killer. I don't remember if it's him exactly, but there is one that is staked out in a cabin on the bayou. Conditions are very rough. Kay Scarpetta is in Baton Rouge. She's meeting with government officials trying to get skinny on the case. So if you're looking for like police procedural in Louisiana. This is my recommendation to you. But
Nice.
but my more earnest, serious recommendation for this whole episode is Of Flesh and Blood by N.L. Lavin and Hunter Burke. If you've talked to me, I probably talked about this book. I'm obsessed with it. It came out last year from Crooked Lane. Hunter and NL are from the surrounding area, so and they're very, very cool. But it is basically like my favoriteest things come to life. It follows this man who is a psychiatrist, a forensic psychiatrist who like works at a prison, but he is given like this case study of one of his like distant cousins or something like that that was like this really prolific serial killer called the Cajun Cannibal. And he's like, well, I'm gonna look into that further to see like what really was going on with all that, like what really transpired whenever the Cajun Cannibal was doing his thing. And so this psychiatrist like doubles down, like you get the exposition, like it jumps between like narratives of back then when it was happening to now in the present. And it starts off very rooted in science and procedure, and it goes someplace very very different. And I fucking love it so much. It's so much, like, I don't want to say fun because there's some genuinely frightening scenes in that book. There's a scene when they go in this house and he investigates and there's like mannequins staged around.
Nope. No, thank
Fucking
you.
terrifying. Fucking terrifying. But it's so like to me this is like what I want from Louisiana horror. Like I want you to hook people with the logic, pull the rug out from underneath them and be like, "Nope, just kidding. It's this other thing that is very frightening." So yeah, cannot say enough good things about that book. Everybody needs to read it, honestly.
Yeah, this is the book that I associate with you. I was like,
I love this for
if
me.
Anna is talking about a book, I feel like it's this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I
love this
love
for
that.
me.
Um, I also feel like I need to read Root Work by Tracy Cross. That was also on my
Mm,
list of like books to read for this episode. So I will be getting to that. No, know that I will.
I will rest assured.
I didn't want you to lose any sleep.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna go watch Wounds, and then I won't be able to sleep. So And
That's
then we'll
brave
have
on a
Nathan
weeknight, yeah.
yeah, we'll have Nathan on to hear about, 1, his bar stories, and 2, what the hell all that's about, so
I'll put that in my invitation email. Just be like,
perfect,
"For your bar
perfect.
stories and 2, for whatever the hell that's about."
Yeah.
Sorry, it's getting late, I get, like, loopy.
To me, I think it makes it better when we're like this.
Um, but I think it's time to talk about chilling obsessions.
We all know where this is going. We all know where
Yeah,
this is going.
it's been hinted at.
It's
The
been hinted
people
at.
the people must know.
So I'm in the middle of season 4 of Mad Men. And I didn't realize how dark this show was gonna get. I am I allowed to talk can I talk about spoilers? Can I talk about what's going on?
I think so. It's been out for a while, and you're in season 4, so it's not even, like, full
Yeah.
series spoilers.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. If you haven't seen the season 3 finale, probably stop listening if you're watching now, whoever you may be. Anyway, so at season 4, Don is living on his own. Him and Betty are divorcing or divorced. I don't know what their arrangement is. It's very strange. It is so dark how drunk and like in the trenches this man is. And he's not a good person. He's not being a good person this season. But I'm still like left a little aghast by like how bad off he is, I guess. He's like losing days. He's going on benders. Like
Yeah, this is
what
his bender season.
yeah, it's his bender season, and I'm like, what is going on? Meanwhile, I'm living because Peggy is like kind of calling him out on his shit on the reg
Mhm.
and like really taking some agency over like what's going on. And then fucking Pete, I don't even know what to say about him. He's gonna be a dad. Ugh. A junior Pete? Is that what this world really needs? I don't like Pete if you can't tell. Um
Sorry. I do like Trudy.
I do like Trudy. I don't like Pete.
Yeah.
Um, and more importantly, I'm gonna get on the soapbox, but John Slattery
Mhm.
as fucking Roger Sterling. I hate it. I hate it so much because he's a womanizer and he's terrible. But I laugh every scene that he's in. He's so charming and so funny. I hate it so much because I know that I shouldn't. And I low key wish that him and Joan could have made things work some kind of way. But that's the hopeless romantic in me, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's just so charming. I don't know.
I'm so obsessed with him. I hate it. I hate it so
It's so
much.
effortless. Is this a safe place for me to say you're in season 4, this is not like his best season, but Stan Rizzo is like my physical type. Like if you look at every guy I've dated, I'm like, they are a composite of this.
Hold on, hold on. I'm pulling up the visual now. I need to see that. Because I'm thinking about. Okay, but like, no, Stephanie, no. I just watched the episode where he was like trying to say that he's like a nudist or whatever.
Oh, I hate that episode.
And him and Peggy are like trying to work together, and she totally like just calls him on his bullshit. It's so great. I love that, but
He
he's
becomes more
insufferable.
likable as the series goes on.
He looks kind of like a caveman in a lot of these pictures that I'm seeing, but
Okay, you just don't get it. It's fine.
another difference between us. Stan Rizzo in the year I was born. Hopefully he gets more likable because I'm not a fan of him right now.
Okay. My chilling obsession is Super Bowl Sunday was 2 days ago, and I am still in like my Bad Bunny feelings. So I have
As
been
you should
listening
be.
to nothing but like reggaeton since then. So
I love this for you. You were preparing before. You were like, I'm gonna embarrass my children on Sunday. You were ready then, and you're still ready now, I think.
I'm still ready. And you know what? My son was like, "What is this? I like this." And I was like, "All right, all right,
Hell yeah. You brought another one into the fold.
we got this."
I love it.
All right. Well, speaking of music, Anna, do you have a final girl song for us
I
today?
do, I'm really proud of this choice, actually. So The Last Dinner Party has a song called "This Is the Killer Speaking."
Yeah.
And it's such a weird song because it's very, like, intense and kind of, like, morose for, like, parts of it, and then it gets, like, kinda poppy and upbeaty for others, and, I don't know, I really like the intensity behind both, like, parts of the song, like, the twofoldness of it, and the lyrics are great too, but it's very stylish, and it's there's not a lot of other songs like it, I don't feel like. I don't think that I've heard a whole lot that's similar to that. And you know what I mean? Like the line, like it's like "Good morning, handsome. This is the killer speaking." Like
Yeah.
that's so stylish. It's so good. I love that. It's great.
This album of theirs is really good.
Yeah, I'm like I'm somebody who, like, for whatever reason, I can't listen to an album, like, back to back to back, like, I'll pull, like, a song or 2, and, like, I'll listen to, like each month, I'll, like, get into, like, 2 or 3 songs and then, like, move on to the next. So I have that one, I think Scythe, whatever, is the other one, from this album. But yeah, big fan of This Is the Killer Speaking. Very fun.
Yay. It's a good one. All right. I will be adding that to the list. All right. Well, Anna, thank you so much for coming on here today and talking to me about Louisiana horror.
Thank you for having me. I had a grand time talking about
Yeah.
things that nobody has heard of, like babies and cakes and Nutra-Rats.
Rats kills me. I can't.
I'm going to put one on my story, like immediately after this.
Books in the Freezer is a bi weekly podcast. We post episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky at Books in the Freezer, or send us an email at booksinthefreezer@gmail.com. If you would like to support the show, consider joining our Patreon community where you can get access to things like the monthly newsletter, the cold read, and the bonus series, The House at the End of Fear Street, where I am putting out episodes with guests going over books in the Fear Street series. And it has been a ton of fun. You can find that at patreon.com/booksinthefreezer. And another way you can support the show is by leaving a review on a site like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, which is a huge help to small indie shows like this, or sharing about the show on social media. So thank you to all of you who have taken the time to do that. I have been your host, Stephanie Gagne. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.